one. We're here.
Yeah, that's right. We are here. We are live once again, coming to you from Boca Raton, Florida. Larry Mastropieri, broker owner of the Mastropieri Group, alongside myself, John Laws of Discover South Florida. And we loved Boynton Beach so much the last time we had one of these. It was like, hey, you know what? Why don't we just talk about it again? I mean, in reality, though, it's because they have so much to talk about. I mean, that's why we called it Boynton Beach 2.0. I personally felt like we really let everybody down last time because we didn't get to all the Boynton Beach topics, that we wanted to cover. So if anyone was truly offended by that, then that's on me. And I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Blame John.
Yeah.
Blame John.
Okay. So anyway, before we jump into all of that, Larry was practically giddy with this story because it's a big one. We have Penn, Florida, who just can't seem to get out of their own way. Hit with a $195 million UCC foreclosure. This is on Boca Raton's via Mizner. The South Florida multifamily debt woes continue. And for those who are unfamiliar with UCC, like me, this is a uniform commercial code foreclosure, which is targeting Penn, Florida's ownership interest in their LLC, which owns the property. All right, Larry, what's going on there? What have you heard?
Let's talk about it a little bit here. So I want to share this with you so people know what location we're talking about. Here we go. Let's open the map. Yeah, so this is super interesting. You know what I learned from a local attorney, that some of these guys that are asking for their deposit back on Mandarin, which is what we're referencing, is they're getting them. They're getting their deposits back.
Oh, they are?
Yeah, some of them. So this is interesting. So what we're talking about, we're in Boca Raton right now. We're bouncing around. I know we're talking about Boynton, but this is kind of topical, and we've talked about this in the past, right? So we're in Boca Raton, and we're talking about the Mandarin Oriental construction project that Penn, Florida is in charge of or building, developing. And right next to it is the project that they've completed many years ago at this point, but they've completed it and still own it. And they have debt that Blackstone basically issued to them for this project. And in theory, right now, what we're hearing is that Penn, Florida hasn't paid this debt back. It came due, and they haven't paid it back. Right, which is interesting.
I don't generally smile upon others' misfortunes, but my goodness, what are you doing? You can't finish the building. The one you have finished, you didn't pay for. I mean, only in America can you just kind of keep going with all of this.
Only in America, baby. Only in America.
Oh,
so well, let's just play devil's advocate here. Where did I see this? Penn, Florida states, let me see where they said this so I can say it right. They stated that, they're in the process of restructuring the loan, restructuring the debt, or refinancing. And so that's the only reason they haven't paid. So
they're not paying in a more organized fashion.
Listen, Penn, Florida is a massive company. They can handle this. They're choosing to do this strategically for some reason, right?
That would have been my next question. Any theories on why somebody like Penn, Florida would do this?
Well, before we do that, let's just talk about this. I think you'll find this interesting. So this building right here, which is right next to the Mandarin, right? And affiliated with it in some level, but separate on some level as well, and already done. They took a loan in 2014 for $75 million, and then they refinanced for $180 million in 2017. Okay, so they took proceeds out when they did this. They did a cash out, basically, is what you would call that. So they took a $180 million loan and paid off the $75 million loan and took the rest as cash, right, to do whatever they do with. That's a game you play in this real estate world, right? If the values go up like that and the cash flow goes up like that. Then Blackstone issued them a loan in 2021 for $195 million. So pretty interesting. But anyway, you can see they went from $75 million to $195 million in debt on this project, which I just find interesting. And it's not unusual. This is what we've done in our portfolio, our real estate portfolio. 2014 to 2025 or 2021 was a very, property's appreciated substantially. So it's pretty interesting. So this is interesting too. Blackstone Mortgage Trust, via their affiliate, filed the foreclosure and is planning to have an auction on January 15th, 2025. Now, whether that actually happens or not, and it gets there, is a totally different story, I think. But yes. So this building, though, to jump back, this is a 366 unit apartment building. All right. So that Penn Florida owns and operates. It's 14 stories, and it's right on building. It's right on the golf course of the Boca Raton Club, and it's got some pretty views in some of the buildings, right, from some of the units. So yeah, but it's kind of interesting. I mean, Penn Florida has not been, to your point, has not finished this project for God knows how long it's been, right?
Right.
I don't know, 7 years, whatever we were talking about. And then they also have people that are suing them on this project right next door for not delivering on time, and they want their deposits released, which when people buy units like this or put deposits down on units like this, I mean, it's millions of dollars in some cases.
Right.
Tied up, right? And these units range from, I don't know, 5 million to 20 something million, right? That you could buy in the Mandarin Oriental that's under construction. And then they also have some other lawsuits going on, or financial strains that they listed here. So Penn Florida, the world's changing, and Penn Florida's in the mix. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm. So I mean, but the way you describe some of this, you sound like this is almost business as usual. Like this is just something that when you're dealing with high end real estate, be it residential in the beautiful parts of Boca Raton, that it's like, yep, you're going to get lawsuits. Everything's going to be delayed. You're going to be up to your eyeballs in debt. It's like, don't worry about it. This is what happens.
I think I don't know if I feel exactly that way, but I'll say this: like these big corporations, they know how to handle themselves and they protected themselves. So like the worst case scenario is they just give the keys back to the lenders, and then somebody else goes ahead and finishes this project, which isn't a good day by any means. And this is happening across the United States right now. As the market changes, people get caught. They get caught in weird spots, whether it's they have short-term debt or they overpaid for something, whatever it is. They're giving the keys back, or they're having trouble. So as we talked about in the past in Boca, like there's other projects that they're crushing it. They've sold out. They've done a great job. And so I wouldn't say it's normal. This is not normal, but it's
the thing. It's like, it seems like if you deliver on what you said you're going to do, you have buyers, people are still going to retire. So again, it's not like we're talking about somebody who's never done any sort of residential developments before. It's, you're pointing out other buildings that they've done. And it's like, okay, guys, I understand making mistakes, but did you not learn from the previous ones? Did you not learn from the one before that? It's crazy.
That's what it is, John. Okay. That's what it is.
So I do have one question, because I don't know how the protocols necessarily work with these big residential developments. I see that the UCC is targeting the ownership interest in the LLC that owns the property. Is that standard business practice? Like, do you always open an LLC to, kind of cover everything with the development? Or I don't know. It just, for whatever reason, that kind of caught my attention.
At this level, that's I'd say
it is commonplace
like that way. It's a little different at like the duplexes and the 4-unit buildings that you would sell, right? It's a different dynamic. So
right.
Yeah.
I got you. Yeah. All right. So I guess Penn Florida is certainly going to have their hands full for the foreseeable future. But there is other good news for South Florida when it comes to real estate. We have a U.S. Small Business Administration South Florida District Office setting a national record for small business loans. Larry, what does that mean? I
thought this was pretty interesting. Look, you can see what I've been shopping for. Collared shirts.
It's the holidays. I mean,
yeah. There you go.
Oh, I figured you were looking for me. Is that like sort of a subtle hint here?
I was going to buy you a cute shirt.
This is a new shirt. I like this shirt.
Well, I thought this was interesting. They're talking about the SBA loans in South Florida, which is usually an indication of business growth and small business growth at that, which typically people think is good, right? When small businesses are flourishing or more small businesses are starting, that's usually a sign of strong economics, right? So anyway, so this was interesting that South Florida set the national record for the amount of small business loans, both volume and units. So the amount of loans and the amount of money lent. So in the United States, right? That's pretty interesting. So yeah, they've and they're up year over year quite a bit, I believe. I think it was, let's see, this year they've approved 4,871 loans totaling $2.55 billion for 2024's fiscal year. Pretty interesting. And it's basically 24 counties south of Orlando. So kind of channeling into the South Florida market, right?
That's a lot.
So it's a big area, it's big territory, but still it's very interesting that South Florida is the biggest. So that's pretty cool. And again, small business loans can range from a bunch of different things, just equipment to, business acquisitions to real estate transactions for businesses, right? So it's pretty interesting. Oh, here it is. The South Florida office reported a 25% increase in loans approved from fiscal year 2023, when it was only about 3,866 loans, which were granted, to 26% growth in overall loan amount. So it's pretty interesting. Pretty big number. Pretty big growth.
Well, I was going to say, so in other words, that means that small business owners are being bullish in this market. What is your takeaway from this?
I think my takeaway is that, by the way, the SBA loans aren't they're not just blindly giving out money, right? You have to justify this.
No, I have no idea.
Yeah. So
hey, you get a small loan. You get a small loan.
Yeah, so they're not just blindly giving out money, right? You have to qualify for this stuff, which means you have to have a business that's performing or buying a business that's performing, and you can justify these things. Or you're buying assets for your business, whatever it is. You have to support this with sound economics in your business or the business you're acquiring. And so this is a signal that the South Florida economy is doing pretty well, I think, in my opinion. So that's one signal that's positive for South Florida overall, which is probably why South Florida has really bucked the trend, I think, over the years of all the other markets are, declining on some level, and not every other market, but a lot of the other markets in the United States struggling, whereas South Florida seems to continue to feel relatively strong. The population growth is a part of that. So you need more service businesses, et cetera, when you have a huge population growth. Also, South Florida is very business friendly. We see Canadians and other international folks relocating to South Florida, starting their businesses, right? We've sold a number of homes to clients who are relocating in the area, and they're small business owners, and those businesses might not be brick and mortar. They might be like internet businesses and things like that, but they're relocating to Florida, right? Yep.
That's very interesting because, again, because the boomers are still retiring, I picture people that are moving to South Florida, it's like Simon, like we're moving to Boca. I picture older couples retiring. But when you say that all these, business owners are coming down here, that surprises me. I wouldn't have imagined that.
Yeah. James made some comments. He's like, this is a good sign for overall employment levels in the area. I agree. I think South Florida's got that kind of figured out. We got good population growth and businesses are moving to the area. Plus the inflation piece, though, as you mentioned, James, like, hey, that's, more business growth, more people moving to the area, more inflation probably, right? but that's also offset by interest rates and other things, right, in the marketplace. So
yeah. Well, and there's no question. It seems like Florida, particularly with recent elections and everything else, that the influence of this area, man, it is taking the national stage right now. That these are going to be interesting times ahead.
So that's interesting. So what we just said, all this positive. Let's talk about something.
I mean, why not?
Negative,
let's balance things out here. We have Home sales sinking across Florida. That's according to a Redfin report. Now, Florida's metro areas, this isn't the first time they've talked about this recently, but Fort Lauderdale, Miami, West Palm, Jacksonville, and Tampa rank as the top 5 in the U.S. for the steepest year-over-year declines in pending home sales. So pending sales dropping year over year for the 4 weeks ending on November 10th. Larry, does this surprise you?
No, I mean, yeah, we're seeing the market slow, right?
Mhm.
Overall, in general, and we had a very, very strong market here in South Florida, in Florida in general. So to see Florida seeing the biggest declines in pending home sales is not a big surprise. I feel like we felt it. They're talking about, October, November timeframe. Yeah, I mean, look at these numbers here. You could see most of these are Orlando, Tampa, Jacksonville, West Palm, Miami, Fort Lauderdale. Okay. And they're all like floating between this like -5% year over year change and like -15%, suggesting pending home sales are down 15% to 5% year over year. So that makes sense to me. That that's what's happening in the market. Like that's what we're feeling 100%. Now it's changed as this article goes on to say, hey, it feels like things recovered a little bit, which is interesting. And again, we're feeling that right now in this real estate market. I'm feeling it. Things kind of turned around. A little bit more activity started to come back to the market right after the election, frankly. So we're seeing that.
I'm having a hard time seeing all the little lines just to be sure. So Tampa's the one that shows that big dip in mid-October?
Yeah, Tampa. So Tampa went down to -30%. Now, again, this is moments, snapshots in time, small data sets. I think you really need to kind of look at this a little broader. This is from 6/23/2024 to 11/10/2024. So overall, I'm not really stressing this, but but again, like other markets, I think reacted to the change in the interest rates, et cetera, faster. And now I think we've like lagged that trend for a long time, just because of how strong South Florida's population growth was and everything else that supports that. So now we're seeing it slow down a little bit. But, Redfin goes on to comment about a bunch of things, why they think this is happening, and all valid. Frequent natural disasters, increase in home insurance costs, HOA fees fueled by intensifying climate risk, which again, HOA fees sometimes are influenced by insurance, pandemic housing demand that drove up cost. Yeah, prices inflated here, and it's become or let's put it this way, more expensive to live in South Florida than, historically. It used to be a cheaper place to live, and now those prices are pretty high, at least relative to what they were. So yeah, and then they went on to mention the condo market here in South Florida is struggling quite a bit, and we've talked at length and ad nauseum about
check out some of our great videos on it.
yeah, we're over the condo market.
So, but to give this perspective, going back to the 2019 and previous years before that, these are still norms. I mean, we're still ahead of where we were at that time before the world went crazy, right?
So I would say, yeah, we're way ahead. We're way ahead. Like we haven't given up too much, if you will. When it comes to, this is pending home sales, right? So this is just how many homes are going under contract at any given point in time. And so them being down is arguably a leading indicator, right? So a leading indicator kind of tells what the future might bring. And what we've seen, you and I have talked about this a bunch, and we've reported on this. For the first time ever, at least in Boca Raton, we've seen a 0% sales price growth year over year. And usually that's a lagging indicator because that's closed data. Closed sales usually lag about 2 months. And so pending sales or pending contracts going under contract, that's a leading indicator. So it's important to note that usually when we see this 0% year over year price growth, suggesting that homes are worth the same last year that they are today, that we can usually say is, where is that going? Is it going in the direction of, is it continuing to trend down? Are we going to see homes worth less today than they were last year? And it's quite possible that's the case. A lot of that
Really? I feel like I've never seen that since in the 5+ years I've been here now. I mean,
yeah. And I haven't seen that in the 15 years that I've been doing this, right? In real estate since 2010s, right? So this will be interesting, and we'll be reporting on that in January, probably when we hit the next quarterly data update. But yeah, so as far as this is interesting, it's interesting to see that demand is wearing off a little bit. And usually when demand wears off a little bit, you see prices soften. And so we've seen prices soften. And I would tell you, there's a lot of discussions I'm having with sellers about, hey, these comps from January of 2024 don't reflect what the market is today. And usually that conversation is these homes might be worth less today than they were in January of 2024. We're seeing that. It's happening. It's not a question. It's not substantial. There's still good demand in the market. The market's healthy. It's all good, but it's a thing. It's a thing. Yeah.
Yeah. That's, well, again, as we've talked about many times, it just, this market just is not reflective of the rest of the country. It feels like you see the national news reports, and then I'm looking at the data we're always going over, and it's like, so what's going on over there? Huh. Well, anyway, so changing gears here for anyone who was interested. The Sunfest, which has been around since 1982, it started out as a 10-day event, big music festival. It's done. It's not coming back in May of 2025. 40 years, Larry. A springtime live music festival in downtown West Palm Beach. They had it right off Clematis in the park, off of by Flagler and Datura, that big park area right there. Yeah, I mean, it's sad. It's like the end of something, I mean, I don't know if he'll ever touch the Boca boat parade, but it's a big deal. I mean, you had big names, even as recently as this year, looking at the headliners like Cole Swindell, Nelly, Third Eye Blind, Billy Idol, and Ellie King. I mean, you're touching a lot of different generations there. So this is one that's had as many big names as you possibly can imagine. I wonder why. I mean, it always seemed to be crowded.
So what they said, though, too, for context, is it's, they're exploring new dates for 2025 for starters.
Okay.
Right.
Whew, I wasn't overreacting or anything.
Yeah, you were freaking out, man. Calm down. Calm down.
Right.
Yeah. So I'd say overall, like, this is like, yeah, it's kind of weird that something like this would not sustain itself or continue to do better year over year, especially I want to see West Palm continue to like put up big, interesting numbers for everything they do. Right. So like having a big concert stick around and maybe do better year over year with attendance, et cetera, to me would be awesome. But it sounds like they're struggling a bit. And so I mean, they clearly are struggling a bit if they're trying to, what they said is they're looking to come with a new, fresh concept that will attract more people and be more interesting, right? So something new.
How you would attract a fresh concept with music? I mean,
well, what they said too was, the festival was canceled 2020 and 2021 due to COVID, and then when they returned, there was cutbacks. So they pulled back on some of the exhibits, some of the fireworks. They only had 2 stages versus 3, and so they slacked, or it just didn't work right. For whatever reason. So anyway, that's the deal.
All right. Whew. Well, that's one less thing to worry about. Now for the fun part, the development projects that, we weren't able to get to all of them last time we were talking about Boynton. We will start off with the Dunes, which for anyone who's not familiar with the Dunes, north and south, this is located off the 2700 block of South Federal Highway and 26. Wow, I think that might be a typo. Where are we here? So we got South Federal Highway, where they seem to build everything here. The intersection.
So it's supposed to be off of 2755 South Federal Highway, which suggests It's in the
because it's
middle of
north
this
and
globe.
south. So I get it. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm a little slow.
So it's supposedly it's here. We're actually trying to figure this out right now. I think there's a chance that this is the project, but also what we've noticed through public record, the sale of a couple other projects here locally, right here in Boynton Beach. So this is just south of 23rd, and this is more likely where this project is. But I could be wrong. So.
I mean, that would make a little more sense logically. The two huge open plots of land on
totally. So I suspect it's here, which is just south of Woolbright and 23rd, and very close to downtown Delray Beach, right? I mean, real close. So this to me sounds like a good possibility across the street from the park. Pretty cool. If this isn't where it's going, something's going here soon. But I'm pretty so this article that talked about it though confused the topic, right? And confused, and they literally put this here. But I think they're wrong. So I'm calling you out,
Florida YIMBY.
YIMBY.
Yeah, they're YIMBY as far as I'm concerned.
YIMBY.
Maybe that's how they pronounce it.
I'm calling YIMBY out. YIMBY, let us know if I'm right or wrong, please. Anybody else who wants to tell me if I'm right or wrong, I'm sure people will. Let me know. But that to me sounds like the right spot for it. This is super interesting. This is another affiliate project, and so affiliated development. They've built other projects in the area. They've done a good job, in my opinion, over the years. They paid $12 million for this project. So that's just for the dirt. And it was a $6 million seller finance deal, which is interesting that a construction project would seller finance at first, but we'll see how that goes. They'll probably refi them out when they do the job, when they do the construction loan. So we don't have a construction loan yet, as far as we can tell. And this is the theme with Boynton Beach, right? You got all these cool projects coming, but nothing moving dirt.
Again, I was looking at some of the previous drone video we had from, I guess the last 18 months. And you have that city hall and the new buildings, and then just plots of land all around it, just there. I mean, I'd imagine, I haven't been by Boynton in a little while, but I'd imagine some of it's starting to get filled in. But my goodness, it's like you're sitting on a gold mine. I don't get it.
It's all going to hit at once. It's all
You're
going to
just
hit
saying
at once.
that. Come on.
It's all going to hit at once. I'm telling you, once one of these guys start building and making money, everybody else is going to follow. When the environment's right for it, it's going to be super interesting. And that's why we're doing Boynton 2.0, because we're pumped. We're pumped about Boynton.
There's a lot here.
But let me finish this, because I think this is interesting, and this is why I think they're wrong about the location. So it's a 4.27 acre property in total. And they're planning for, 336 residential units on an 8-story building. They have Dunes South and Dunes North, which is interesting. So 298 units, 183 one-bedroom, 115 two-bedrooms, and 183 of the 298 units will be units are proposed to be affordable housing. So this goes back to the Live Local Act that we've talked about in the past, which is a for anybody who's not privy to this, Live Local and affiliated development is good for this. They do this quite often here in South Florida. They basically get tax incentives and other incentives to build rentals that they agree to have more affordable rents in them, right? And the affordable rents aren't like super low rents; they're just somewhat reasonable, if that.
I was going to say right, which kind of fits the trend of all of the living arrangements here.
So you got the Dunes South and the Dunes North, and the Dunes North project is four 3-story buildings and 38 dwelling units in total, and 40% designated to affordable housing as well. So, and that's why I'm guessing that this could be the project, because where are you going to put a Dunes North and South here? You're not, I don't think. So I think it's here. And so they'll probably do the North is the smaller project. The Dunes South is the bigger project, which makes sense because this is all a part of it. Right. So, and this is a good spot for this. This is great. This is
like you were pointing out, between the parks and I see the golf course right on the other side of the Intracoastal. Then it's not too far from, the Ave. I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah. Boynton again, man. Another big project. Now, see, the cool thing about affiliated is they usually do this. They usually execute. So I have more faith in this project getting done before any of those other projects we talked about last week are done. So anyway, interesting.
All right. So let's keep it moving with the Cottage District. This one is located at North Seacrest Boulevard and Northeast First Street. It's about a half mile southeast of Sarah Sims Park. This one these are townhomes done by Pulte Home Company. What do you know about this?
Pulte is a builder in the area. They do a bunch of smaller projects. They're maybe not a GL in the scale of the master developments they do. Exhibit A right here. This is a smaller parcel, and they're going to knock it out and put up a bunch of homes here, and that's great. So Pulte's got a good reputation historically for being a good home builder, and so that's a little bit about Pulte, but what I find interesting about this location is historically this is a tougher area, all up here north of Boynton Beach Boulevard. So them building into this area is just further, I think, improving the quality of the area north of Boynton Beach Boulevard, which is great. And you can see around here, we'll talk about it in a minute, but there's other projects that have gone on in this area that are also newer. So, and right here, this project right here, this small project right here is my biggest blunder. I had the opportunity to buy this and I didn't, right at COVID, right when COVID hit, a month after COVID hit.
Is that why you didn't? Was because it hit?
I was scared. Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. Makes sense.
I was really scared. We didn't know if we were going to sell another home.
We all were, Larry.
Yeah. And now I'm so sad that I passed on that. It's I don't know, 23 units, whatever. We passed on it. We should have done it. But the Cottage District, townhomes built by Pulte. They're estimating they're going to spend about $11.7 million in construction. And it's a 4.5 acre parcel, 41 townhomes. 41 total homes for sale, including 22 townhomes and 19 single family homes. So kind of interesting. So a little bit of a mix. They claim to be done by 2026.
Mm-hmm. When you see some of these numbers, what they're paying for the land, does that feel right? I mean, I know you crunch numbers constantly, so you probably have a gut feeling on some of this when you see what the land is cost.
Yeah. You know what? In my opinion here, as an individual builder, like if you're a one-off guy trying to do like one project, build, make a profit, move on to the next one, in my opinion, it's really hard to do. When you're like competing with guys like Pulte, which they're real players, but then you have other smaller guys that are building a lot of custom projects, but they got 40 of them going on at once, right? And these guys are doing their transactions all cash. So their capital structure is no debt. So they don't have, debt service to pay. They can hold on to these things. They can hold out for their right price. So without the efficiencies of scale in South Florida, in my opinion, it's hard to make money building, at least at this point. Mm-hmm. So do I think it's reasonable? I think this cost is reasonable, but I still question. You have to be doing this as a real business to be like, oh, this makes sense and makes a lot of money. If we were to go ahead and try to build this project right now, which we probably could raise money for and do, right? It does, like, to do a one-off like that doesn't make sense. To be doing 20 or 30 of these or bigger ones all over South Florida, then that's their business. That's what they're doing all day. They got their systems in place. They got they got scale. And their cost to build this stuff is so much cheaper than what an individual builder would be. So to me, it all feels a little wrong. To answer your question, it feels like it all feels too expensive because, again, like you have to be these big guys with these big efficiencies of scale. Yeah.
It's basically operating not like Penn, Florida.
Before you move on to the last one, the one thing I wanted to comment on this is it states here that the CRA also reported that Pulte has committed to spend at least 15% of the estimated $11.7 million project budget on subcontractors in the Boynton Beach area. So they're just, they've structured it.
So they're trying to hire local, in other words.
Exactly. Which is good.
Yeah. Always good to hire local. All right, so let's keep it moving with Ocean Breeze East. This one is located at 100 Northeast 7th Avenue. It's listed as multifamily apartments. It is being developed by Centennial Management Corporation, an estimated $26 million project. This is another one that, according to the records, started back in 2019.
It's done though. It's a done.
It is done. All right. Whew, I was like,
so, and in 2019, they weren't even. I don't know. That was like really they started moving dirt, and it was looking like it was going to happen in 2021 ish. Like right when COVID hit, they were starting to move some dirt behind this. Right? Why do I know this? Because I was running around thinking about trying to buy this building at that time. And again,
so you know everything within like a couple block radius of those units.
Yeah, totally. So again, like I said, one of my biggest blunders. Should have done it. Anyway, this is interesting. They got 1 bedroom, 1 bath, 2 bedroom, 2 baths, 3 bedroom, 2 baths. It's 123 multifamily affordable rental units. So this was built as a more affordable housing project, which is great. And this is a great location to do that in, I think. So I think this was a good project and a good, concept for Boynton Beach to approve in this location. So,
okay.
Yeah. So they completed it in November of 2020. So very soon after I passed on this deal. And
I feel like with every one of these projects I bring up, like I'm pouring salt on an open wound that I had no idea was there.
I'm salty about a lot of things, so it's okay.
Well, I know that.
No matter what
I feel like I've really struck a nerve here.
That one I'm really hurting over. Yeah. But there's a lot of stuff in Boynton that again, this is why we're doing Boynton 2.0, because I own a fair amount of stuff in Boynton, and there's a lot more I should have bought. And I'd say still to this day, if there's something interesting in Boynton, I'd be very, very interested. But there's just not a lot of stuff there to buy for like multifamily stuff in the downtown area. So let's talk about 500.
I would say you wanted to move right along here to 500 Ocean, located off 101 Federal Highway. Is this the Lacesse Development Corporation? Is that how it's pronounced? Lacesse, a mixed use project? Okay, I'm making sure if there was somebody that was like a household name here. The site cost estimated $4.7 million, construction cost $51 million, financing from SunTrust. This is one that, again, it started on the records back in 2015. This one's not finished yet already, is it?
This one's done. This one's been around for a long time. I've toured this building.
I think I've seen this building.
You've totally seen it. You know it because you and I have been running around over there doing filming and stuff. This one's done. It's been done for a while. This is a great little building, though. This is just to kind of we wanted to talk about this just because it's like, hey, this is right in that path of progress that we discussed last week, which is all right here. And so this project's already done, right? And which is nice. And so, again, to your point, like all these huge open vacant lots, as they fill in, they're going to be filling in with big boys like this. And so this, to your point, $51 million project, 4.5 acres. And this is a rental apartment, 341 units, 5 and 6 story buildings. And this is a nice complex. If you're looking to relocate to the area and trying to get your base, this isn't a bad spot to rent in. There's a couple other buildings like this in this Boynton Beach area. We may talk about them, but just in case we don't, this one's another one right here.
I'm very familiar with that one.
One Boynton. Yep. This is a cool project. They just finished this one here, which it's showing up, Riverwalk Plaza. This is another cool one. But these are not that there's really a downtown right now, but these are a little outside of the downtown, but they're closer to downtown Boynton, which is nice as further south you move. So this is the most downtown you'll get. But again, there's not too much cooking in this area. There's some little small stuff going on right here, right?
Again, it just you're sitting on all this potential.
All the potential, yeah.
Anyway, that's interesting. Just how much they continue to put up here, and yet there's still so much more. It's like
it looks like.
Again, I mean, and plus, how much do you think it helps being strategically located? We keep referencing Delray and being near its downtown, and it's. I mean, almost the same difference, roughly, up to West Palm Beach and their downtown.
Yeah, I think Boynton has that unique situation where it's in between, so
Mhm.
so it's helpful in between West Palm, Lake Worth, Del Rey obviously is like incredible to be close to. I know a number of people that live in Boynton because it's a little bit more affordable and then go to Del Rey. So all the time, right?
Yeah.
What did James just say
James
here?
is talking about the pocket around East Ocean US 1. Super interesting. Feels like it's been under construction for the past 10 years. I feel like everything along Federal Highway has been under construction for 10 years. But yes, the City Hall is brand new. It's a nice little building. Been by there a few times.
Yeah, super updated. Here you
Well,
go.
that's what I say. You have the little amphitheater right next to it, and then these huge spots of open land. And I was looking around, just kind of curious, like, did something happen here? Because clearly,
Yep. And we talked about it last time, right? I mean, the projects
Yes.
that are in place or slated for those two lots will change everything if they build them.
I feel like we're like Field of Dreams here. If you build it, they will come.
It's a thing. I think it'll do well if they build it. I'm surprised that they haven't executed on this. I don't really entirely understand that. So yeah.
Okay, so we also have the Broadstone Boynton Beach, and you can find that one at 625 Southeast 2nd Avenue. This one brought to you by Alliance Residential Company, a site cost of $10 million. Construction, an estimated $105 million. This one started in September of 2022. Is it still in the works right now? Or
yeah, let me show you on the map here. So this is interesting. It's a slightly different location. This one we didn't, I think we may have touched on, but didn't really talk about last week. This is, yeah, thank you. So this is right across the street from 500 Ocean, which we were discussing right here. And I mean, this looks super interesting. I mean, look at this thing. Look at this monstrosity. All right, hold on. Let's see if we can share some other stuff. So here you go. Kind of some images of, that's a different one. Here we go. Back. Here we go. Let me show you Ocean Breeze.
so is this all under Alliance Residential?
No, I don't believe so.
No, these are all the Boynton projects. Okay.
Yeah, these are all, yeah. There's 500 Ocean, which we already talked about. And then One Ocean, Shalimar. So this is cool. Where is our boy Broadstone? Look at all the stuff that's going on. We didn't even talk about all this stuff.
It's crazy. This
is all Boynton, by the way.
I'm picturing like a digital book, that's like this thick.
Yeah, can't even find it in here. But here's the location. So I don't have a good picture for you, but here's the location. And again, this is just piggybacking off of all the other projects in the surrounding area. And interesting, $105 million estimated construction cost. They're not moving along with this right now. 530 parking spots. That would be nice for downtown Boynton. This is interesting. 2.76 acres, 8-story building, 274 multifamily units, and there's going to be ground floor commercial, which is expected right here in that area, and so that's nice. And the project unifies 9 separate parcels, optimizing the use of both developed and undeveloped land to create a cohesive modern community within the Boynton Beach area. So pretty cool overall. Again, just like we just go on and on about like everything that's cooking in this little market here. So, yeah.
So my only question, so they haven't even broken ground on that one?
I last time I was driving by, I do not recall that being, in the works. So I don't think that one's underway.
I was going to say, I wonder how much the $105 million estimated construction cost factors into that.
Yeah, right. Exactly. And until they get that actual loan, we'll see what really happens there. So, yeah.
All right. So let's keep it moving. We have Avian Riverwalk, this one at 630 East Woolbright Road.
So this one's basically finished, which is cool. This one is a pretty epic project. I'm surprised, like, of all the things they chose to do. I mean, don't get me wrong.
Oh, I know this. Right.
Yeah. It's right just south of Woolbright. So we were just up here, just for everyone's context, right here, and now we're down here. I was tracking this pretty closely because we bought some buildings just slightly west of here, down right just a few blocks south. So this was super interesting. This has improved this little shopping center so much, in my opinion. It was a little bit more.
I remember parking
before.
there when when you had me out getting the drone footage of the place. It was still under construction at the time, but
Yes.
it was nice. That would be very convenient to live there, and there's just so many little shops right around.
Totally. And if you live here, you can walk all these shops right here, Sweetwater, America. Like there's so many cool things right here. Great restaurants, coffee shops in here. Also, like you got the Starbucks here. You got where's Chipotle? It's in here. Chipotle, bingo. And then Walgreens. Everything's right here. I mean, you don't ever have to leave. Prime Catch is a great little waterfront spot in here in Boca or Boynton here as well. But this project, super cool. I mean, huge project. A lot going on, and they finished this in like 2023, and the rents range, but it's not cheap, right? As expected, it's a brand new construction.
Nice,
yeah, super cool. Yeah,
okay,
worth checking out. This is one of the ones I mentioned. Like if you're relocating the area and you're trying to figure out what's going on, you're thinking Boynton. This is not a bad spot to like rent for a year and figure out your life, right? So yeah.
Duly noted.
Yeah.
So we also have the Ventura. What is this? This is the Ventura Villas Baywalk, and you can find that at 3103 Federal Highway. It's listed as modern villas. Developer Felipe Vergara. I am not familiar with this one. What do you know about it?
Let me show you on the map. So it's just yet another project. They're villas, 25 units in total, 3,000 to 3,400 square feet, somewhere in that space, 3 bedrooms, right? And they're supposedly selling these things for 1.8 million as the starting price, which is interesting. That's a big number. Here, I'll show you. Let me share my screen. I'll show you location. That's kind of neat. I eliminated you, John. Sorry.
Story of my life.
So south of Woolbright. So again, what we were talking about is as you get closer to Del Rey, you tend to get that it gets interesting, right? So this is like a small little sliver of dirt, but they're trying to squeeze them all in here. And you got obviously luxury condos, townhomes, villas right here, just south of it. And this is a newer self-storage building too. I don't know how new, but it looks pretty new. So interesting location. 1.8 million. I don't know. Feels like a lot of money, but there's probably people that'll pay it. There's not a lot of inventory still, right? So
you would think. I mean, again, but then I look at some of these projects. Like, what do you mean there's not enough?
Yeah, this is interesting. The Baywalk project, a prime coastal residential development site in Boynton Beach, this is what they're referencing, has been sold for $6.6 million. The 2.26 acre site located at 3103 Federal Highway. As you mentioned, Felipe is the company. 3103 Boynton Development has acquired the Baywalk project. So just pretty interesting. Somebody's bought this project ready to build. So you would think they're ready to pull the trigger here. And so this is what the parcel looks like. So look at that. They get a little sign out front. Again, this project, it's been kind of up for sale for a while. There you go. So.
And I was going to say, I mean, when it's been long enough that Google Maps and Google ground level satellite, everything else has it perfectly mapped out, then it's like, well, that means it has not been touched in some time.
That's it, man. Yeah.
All right. So next up, we have Harbor K. This is located at 605 Lakeside Harbor Drive, listed as multifamily units, east of Federal Highway, north of East Gateway Boulevard. This was sold on April 8th, 2022, is most of the notes I have on this. What do you know about Harbor K?
Not much. There's not a lot of info out there. Here's the location though on the map. And I actually want to pull this up a little further, but let's just see Lakeside Harbor. I'll just pull it up right here. Harbor Boynton. So I don't know if that's it. Yeah, it's these parcels right here, right?
Oh.
Yep. So ignore this on the map, but this is it right here. Verify that, right? Yep. So let's just zoom out for a second so you can get a sense of where this is. So this is north, like this is super north in Boynton Beach. This is kind of close to, we were referencing, we thought maybe that other project, YSL or whatever, whatever that agency is that's reporting stuff, thinks this might be the, I don't think so though. So this is the location, and they're set to build here supposedly 25 units. That's all we really know. It sold in 2022 in April. So you got another project just sitting here waiting and ready to go in Boynton. This one's a little bit more outside of the interesting area that I think is super exciting, which is, obviously the downtown and as we mentioned last week, south of Boynton Beach Boulevard in this square. I'm single-handedly going to raise the price in this area, right?
Yeah.
I'm pumping this up so much, right? Yeah. Besides the mall, and the surrounding, like I like this neighborhood right here too. Right here, I think this is like a top secret, like good neighborhood, hidden non-HOA neighborhood to buy into as well. And then like there's just a few little spots here around this area. Anyway, all right.
I would say, especially with that mall project going through.
That's my point. Yeah. With the mall project, like if you make the bet, here's the deal. The mall project's getting done. Is it getting done this year? Probably not. Is it getting done 10 years from now? Probably. 20 years? It's definitely done. So if you got a long time
horizon. It could be that long? It could be that long?
All I can say is, how this shit goes. It's just like, it's going to get done at some point because it's just like completely lowest and best use of this space right now, right? So that's it. It's happening. It's just a matter of how long it's going to take. So
I posted James' comment asking if there was a downtown area to Boynton Beach. We touched on that a little earlier, James. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Larry.
Yeah, listen,
I was under the impression where that city hall is, like that's technically the downtown portion, isn't it? I mean, I know there's a lot of open space, but
this technically here, if I had like I got to learn how to like draw on the screen, but either way, it's Seacrest, North Seacrest Boulevard, east of North Seacrest Boulevard, south of Boynton Beach Boulevard, and then north of Southeast 2nd Ave. And I tell you all the way to the water. Like this whole square here is super interesting. So, long term, and we have friends we know people that live like right here. This is great space. I actually own a couple duplexes in this area too. And so like if you can acquire something like right around here, that's pretty interesting long term. Again, long term could be defined as a few years. It also could be defined as 10, 15, 20 years.
And I appreciate the perspective on that because that is a very relative term.
Yeah. Yeah. And but like from my perspective, you're buying real estate to like hold for the long run. So what you need to decide, if you're buying this to live in it, this area is still pretty cool. It's chill. It's not too far away from the beach. You could ride your bike. It's pretty cool, whatever. It's not too far from downtown Del Rey. It's a little bit more affordable than other areas in South Florida, like Boca as an example. But if you're looking for like the major impact of like, oh, this is an awesome downtown, this ain't the spot, right? And it's probably not going to be the spot for a while. But again, long term, you're going to be like, oh my God. People are going to be like, oh my God, you're so smart for buying here, right? Short term, you're going to be like, I don't know, when is this going to happen?
What have I just done?
What have I done? Yeah, that's fair. So
all right. So I would say I'm looking at our list of places here. We have the Potter Townhomes, which is located at 2508. There is a lot of stuff. 2508 North Federal Highway. These are townhomes, as the name would suggest. Residential units, 8. Not a necessarily large property. Larry, what do you know about the Potter Townhomes?
What do I know?
What do you know?
Potter Townhomes, not too far from some of the other things we've looked at. Again, this is slightly less interesting to me. Thank you for sharing my screen, Jen. Right here, Potter Townhomes along Federal Highway, which is interesting, and it kind of fits in with the other stuff. There's a whole bunch of residential townhomes, which we've sold homes in here. These are cool. This is a cool little area east of Federal. As you get closer to like Hype, Aluxo, and Lantana, cool little spot. And again, if you're like vibing on the Lake Worth downtown area, like that's pretty cool. And then obviously if you look across the water, this is where the billionaires live, right? So you could do a quick swim to, I don't know, Billy Joel's old house, right? So yeah. So anyway, this is neat and smaller project. I'm less pumped about it, but it's cool. Let's move on. I'm done with it.
Moving on. So long, Potter Townhomes. We also have Miraflor. This one is located at 3495 North Seacrest Boulevard. Now, this one is listed as property for sale. So this is the when you get into prospecting potential commercial land that may be valuable. It's priced at $3.1 million, 3.87 acres. Well, Larry, if you wanted to open a big business, I guess you could do it at 3.87 acres of land to work with there. What do you know about Miraflor? Is it a complex? It's just land? What's going on?
Yeah, it's kind of in this area here. Let me show you. So in this area right here, which is interesting. So again, another development project on the horizon, close to 95. And that's all we'll say about this. We're running out of time.
Okay. Well, as we're closing in here, we also can let's touch on some of the restaurants here real quick. We have the Turning Point, this is a daytime restaurant, which specializes in breakfast, brunch, lunch. It was supposed to open in fall this year at 7375 Boynton Beach Boulevard. I have not been to the Turning Point. Have you?
I have not. It looks pretty cool. It says it's opening in fall still, so it still hasn't.
Which I was like, I guess still fall, right?
I don't know if they've changed their, what they got going on. But this one's my understanding is it's a little west on Boynton Beach Boulevard, a little further out in this shopping plaza that was under construction here. So cool little spot. It does look pretty interesting. Occasionally what we do is we go out to like these areas and try to find cool restaurants. There's some cool ones out West Boynton, out West Del Rey. Man, we went to one, I can't remember the name of it, in West Del Rey the other day, and it was epic. It was super epic. But there's some good stuff.
An interesting point there. So let's say you're working as a buyer's agent and you're in these different communities looking at homes. Do you make a point of trying to see what the local cuisine is, like what some of these establishments are, just so you can have things to, show like, hey, I mean, if you pick this place, you got, Chipotle right here and on and on and on.
I try to be smart about it. I try to know or learn about it. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah. We also have, I believe I've been to Murphy's Grill. I want to say, yeah, it's near the Melrose Center. That's at 8240 State Road 7. Yeah, it's way west.
Yes, this one's pretty cool. I haven't eaten here, but I've heard about it. So
if you're interested in Irish Gastropub, it's located at State Road 7, 8240. Also, we have the Orion Fresh Mediterranean. This one was, I guess, expected to open at the early part of this year. It's kind of a Chipotle style setup where diners can customize their meals. That's a popular thing right now.
There's one in Boca, I believe. I've had.
I think it's. I want to say, isn't it next to Chipotle? I know there's another Mediterranean place like right next to it.
It's close. Yeah.
Say if it is, I've been right there, and I.
Oh yeah, you're right. It's right there. Yeah.
And I always go by it. I'm gonna go in one of these days.
It's good.
It's good when I haven't ordered my Chipotle in advance and walking in.
In fact, we've sold homes to the owner of that location. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's a franchise. I think so. Yeah.
Okay. So we have some events coming up. The December 6th holiday tree lighting. Oh wow, I didn't know they hadn't done it already because the holiday parade. I thought that was. Oh, this is Boynton. I'm getting Boca confused here. I got Boca on the brain. No, the holiday tree lighting for Boynton Beach, December 6th.
Which is cool.
Running from 5 to 9.
And they do it in the downtown area, right by the City Hall, which is nice.
Yes.
The City Hall is brand new.
So you can go see that downtown area, James.
Yep.
Thank you for asking.
Mhm.
You also have the holiday parade. That will be on Saturday afternoon, running from 4 to 6. There's a lot of holiday stuff going on here right now. And then last but not least, in the early part of 2025, you have the 6th annual Florida Highwaymen Art Show and Sale. So a lot of local art festivals in Palm Beach County.
The cities try to do a pretty good job here.
Yeah, no, they do a nice job, right, with local vendors and everything else. Yeah, it's nice, place looking to spend an afternoon. I know I've enjoyed it. I've been there a few times. All right. Well, Larry, I think we're just about out of time.
That's it.
Really enjoyed talking about Boynton Beach 2.0. Hopefully anybody who's tuned in or checking out this video will like it as well. Hope you had a good Thanksgiving. I know I did. And I guess we'll see you on the next one.
Yeah, reach out to us if you have any other questions, thoughts, or you're thinking about relocating or selling your properties here in South Florida. See you guys on the next one.